Welcome to Go Home Heat, a wrestling podcast. Rastlin, Impact Wrestling, AEW Wrestling, and some New Japan Pro Wrestling will be covered in this episode. We have the Go Home Heat Kid, Ray.
Hi.
We have New Japan Jared.
Hello.
And we have me, KP. Those would be the voices you're hearing and how they sound. Now, I will try to mow through Impact quickly. Some of you are new to the Impact realm, which is the proper way to say it,
The Impact
because
Zone.
there's actually a realm involved in Impact, because we have demons and things, and it is an Impact zone. In contrast to the TNA Asylum, which I'm lucky enough to be so old I go back to. Me and Jeff Jarrett, side by side. That's a lie, by the way. I don't know Jeff Jarrett.
You know that Jeff Jarrett might be the only Bullet Club member in the WWE Hall of Fame?
Yet.
AJ Styles might be.
I think AJ and Shinsuke both get in if they don't.
Shinsuke was a part of Bullet Club, but AJ.
I'm sorry.
AJ absolutely will. Like, if he doesn't, it's going to be the world's greatest travesty. But yeah, currently.
Wait. There's one guy that may be the first, only NXT member of the Hall of Fame.
Who?
Adam Cole. If Adam Cole never goes to the main roster because he's the first star that never got promoted.
Tell me this.
And they decide when they decided, by the way shows go, we're going to try to have this be its own thing. He may just, by the quirk of things, be the first, like you said, Bullet Club member besides AJ, and also the first NXT member because he was the face of the show when it went to prime time.
He's not, because it's going to be Johnny Gargano and Ciampa.
We're talking about Jeff Jarrett here, and how Jeff Jarrett is the only Bullet Club member currently in the Hall of Fame. I just thought it was a fun fact.
It is a fun fact. And everything went south after that. And I was trying to be in a hurry. I apologize. Josh Matthews and Madison Rain are your commentators for this episode of Impact Wrestling. Oh, the reason why some of you are new to Impact is because there's an Omega man in the parking lot as an omnipresence in anything pro wrestling that does not get aired on the WWE network after a couple of days. Whether it be Raw, SmackDown, whatever. Because Omega was on AAA last weekend and Final Resolution at the same time. He was on those shows at the same time in different cities. So if you don't think he's an omnipresence,
it's just the same. It's one guy just moving really fast between the two places.
I'm just saying. I think one's in Tennessee and one's was in Mexico City, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's talent.
Yeah.
If you can get that done, that's talent. That's
one of those was actually Don Callis in a wig. I won't tell you which one though.
The wrestler, the one that was wrestling the Laredo Kid.
Yeah, that was Don Callis actually.
Which is why he kicked out on 3, the Hogan kick out.
Exactly.
Because it wasn't real. That's the shoot down the road, the long-term storytelling. That he kicked out on Callis. That's how you know it wasn't the One-Winged Angel. All right, Tenille Dashwood versus Alicia. This is it's an okay thing, but the point of this whole thing is to get Eddie Edwards out there. Things happen. They go outside the ring. Caleb
Conley
gets grabs Tenille, pulls her out of the ring. Alicia goes to the top rope, jumps on top of both of them. Caleb, it turns into where Eddie somehow manages to get hit with a black bag that may have a camera, or who knows what on earth Caleb comes to the ring with. And so Eddie goes down for a second. Tenille gets the roll-up win. That sort of kind of matters. All that's baloney. What we're getting to is Sami Callihan's hacker insignia going up on top of the screen, and Eddie in the middle of the ring screaming about "Where are you, Sami?" which turns into Sami not showing because he's going to be nice enough to allow Eddie to enjoy his holidays before he ends him.
It's considerate. I'll give him that.
He said enjoy Christmas and the New Year.
Oh, dude.
And that's it.
That's a couple weeks.
That's it for you. He's incredibly kind, considering what's going on out there. Speaking of Omega Callis and Carl Anderson are in the bus. And that's about all they do at first. Now, Sabin and Shelley get to run in their mouths backstage, and they talk about how they had predicted every step of the way and that Saban was going to beat Anderson to turn into a tag team match for the championships, and they will have predicted their run back to championship metal correctly. Then we cut back, and Kenny Omega tells Carl, look, they're not going to talk about the 2012 G1 finalists like that. You're going to need to handle your business out there. I'm not going to, this can't be stood for. Carl gets hyped up. He starts running around backstage. He runs into Rich Swann. Swann wants to know where the machine guns are because he's gonna settle something with him and give him what for. And Swann says, hey, why do you have to see him? You got a match with him anyway. Oh, are you doing something for Kenny? Is that why you're doing something? Which, of course, he is because
Kenny told him to.
Because Kenny told him to, and they're buds. And Kenny's Omega Man. And we're actually getting to something later. This is cool. I thought it was cool. I mean, anyway, maybe that's a shoot, but I thought it was cool. Then we cut to the Moose in the ring, and he lets us know. Yeah, there's a moose in the ring, and he lets us know that he put what a great. I mean, my favorite Canadian wrestler. Moose is great for Moose. He just looks. He's huge.
That dude's big.
Yeah. Okay, Willie Mack. He lets us know that he put Willie Mack on the shelf, and that he starts to run Willie down a little bit, and then Willie comes out and says, I'm not cleared to wrestle right now, but that's not why I'm here anyway. He said, I'm upset. I had more to give, and the refs don't get to decide when I've had enough, which I like what he's saying. To be all honest, he was sound asleep in the middle of the ring due to some elbows to the head, so I do think that the ref kind of could call that, because to wake him up in the middle of that induced nap that he was taking,
that
would not really be polite.
Yeah. I think, no.
So, but here we go. Willie Mack wants an I Quit match, and that turns into security having to get between Moose and Willie, and then one of the security guards makes the mistake of putting his hands on Moose.
Rips his shirt.
That
was a mistake.
Moose was not happy with this shirt. Moose spends a lot of money on clothes. That was a nice suit, and I can't imagine how much it cost to come up with that much cloth to cover him, and to cover him well, you know. And so anyway, Moose, like you said, gets backstage, and he just says, "Hey," and he does pull back the curtain a little bit and let us know what security guards actually are. They're indie wrestlers, and he says, "You indie wrestlers, put your hands on me." Is going to be he's not worried about the fines he's got to pay. He's going to levy out justice to people who don't have a right to touch him, and that would specifically, in this case, be security, which is actually indie wrestlers.
Yes.
And I like it. Just beat them up. Beat everybody up. Okay. So, touching him without permission is suicide. That's what he tells him. Chris Bay tells Rohit, look, man, all we got to do is take Manic's mask off and you're the champ again. And Rohit's like, yeah, great plan. And so they're going to have... Chris Bay has a championship match, a non-title match with Manic, who we believe, due to the fact that he looks and is tattooed exactly like TJP, that TJP may have illegally won the title at said pay-per-view. And so if we can pull that mask off, we're good to go here. Wrestling Logic 101, Chris Bay versus Manic. I like the match. It was a bit of a story match in that he was going for the mask every now and then, and right now Manic, I guess he's some form of a Spider-Man. I would guess TJP is a Spider-Man fan. If you ever notice when you watch TJP wrestle as Manic, he is landing and doing the Spider-Man pose on the ground. He does, his movements all kind of mimic that, which is cool. The finish winds up being where they think the referee's not looking, and Bay tells Rohit to jump in the ring and do something to Manic. The referee turns and sees Rohit Raju in the ring. Bay claims to the referee, like, I don't know why he's in there. I don't know what on earth he's doing. What is he doing? And he starts yelling at Rohit. Rohit gets mad, sucker punches him, and all of a sudden Chris Bay has got a DQ win over the champ.
Heck yeah.
That's what they call the finesser, Chris Bay. We watched Chris Bay in a couple of good matches. In what were we watching on Monday?
The Super J Cup.
Super J Cup. Chris Bay had matches with. Forgive me. What's the guy's name that left the WWE in turmoil?
ACH.
ACH. They had a good one.
Yeah.
Chris Bay doesn't do bad matches, really.
No, dude. That's what impresses me so much about him is his floor is so high.
His ceiling is the floor.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
Like all that's above your head.
Yes.
If the ceiling is the floor below you, that's not good.
No.
That'd be someone else, though. That wouldn't be Chris Bay, by God. Carl, Kenny, and Don. Kenny goes for the rich is a bitch, which rhymes. I almost let him get away with that. We voiced my displeasure with using the B word on any format.
It's just so overdone.
It's not offensive to me. It's just not creative to me.
Yeah.
But it does rhyme.
Yeah.
It's a great. It's in a great Hall & Oates song. So, I mean, what else are you going to say about that? Hall & Oates, guys. Kenny is here, and it is his show, by God. Carl goes off to fight. So then we get to Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steelz versus Taya Valkyrie, and Rosemary. This is a good little match. Again, we're telling a story that isn't really about that match. Most of this episode is like that. And Deonna Purrazzo and Kimber Lee come down. They jump Rosemary on the apron, causing Taya to get distracted, which further setting up, which causes her to take a pin, which further sets up Taya Valkyrie in a championship program with Deonna Purrazzo, the virtuoso, and Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz get to move on in the tournament. This tag team who has been great on this show on and off for a long time, Rosemary and Taya, don't lose steam because Taya gets to move it. She's getting elevated by this loss, not reduced. And the team they want with the first tag team belts, we believe, is the knockout champions Hogan and Steelz, because they're putting them in backstage promos. They're letting them be funny, which they are anyway. They are entertaining. I feel like that's where the spotlight goes. Now, how they figure out a way to have them beat Jordynne Grace and Jazz, I'm not sure. It is pro wrestling, and weird things can happen.
You're right.
Through the whole show, we have a thread of Eric Young baptizing Cody Deaner, who the setting, Eric Young has been doing promos since he's been here of him walking through some form of an abandoned jail. And this is an interrogation room in said jail where Cody is handcuffed to the table as Eric Young explains the course of his wrestling career and how he has been unjustly treated and how cousin Jake has taken advantage of him and how he must be baptized in order to find his true self. And I'm assuming that turns into him doing Eric's bidding for him at some point. And sure enough, we get this whole thing through the show, including Cody saying, my mind when I said Cody went to the Prince of Pro Wrestling, but I'll get back to Cody Deaner now. I'm sorry. He had water running over his head, and it was crazy because it was like steady rolling over, like almost horror movie style baptism.
Yeah.
It was you did see that part?
Yeah.
It was because I've always thought of. I remember a guy told me one time the difference between Baptists and Methodists is Methodists are afraid of water. And he was like a deacon in a Baptist church because I told him I went to the Methodist church down the road. And, one sprinkles and one dips. You know what I mean? So it was fun. That's a good one to me.
Oh, dude, some of those churches like dip babies like they're pieces of fried chicken. You know what I mean? Just double dip.
Oh, no.
Get them covered.
Dude, no kidding. I was probably 9 years old when that guy told me that. One line, and somehow it stuck with me. I'm 50. Weird how things will run with you over the course of a lifetime. Okay, Ace Romero wants Larry D to be set free. He has known Larry very well, therefore he could not have possibly shot anybody. And Dreamer's not 100% sure on that testimony being okay. So that turns into Rhino and Jake rolling up on, I guess the new locker room leader is not Madison Rayne. It is truly Tommy Dreamer. And so they roll up on him, and they're upset with Eric Young's effect on the locker room and the mental brainwashing of Cody Deaner. Dreamer points out that Rhino has been in locker rooms and that Dreamer has been in locker rooms where there have been cancers before, and they've always settled them the way they should settle them, in the ring or outside of the ring, but you handle your business if you want to handle your business, Rhino. And it really was a callback to the philosopher Vanilla Ice.
Yes.
If you have a problem, I'll solve it.
Yes.
Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it.
Exactly.
Ice, baby.
Yes. Of course, that was a Sting reference.
It sure was. All right. Split screen periodically as Omega and Callis are watching Sabin versus Carl Anderson in our main event. And this was cool. Both these guys are great. And a cool byproduct of Omega being there and Gallows being hurt is I'm getting to watch Carl Anderson wrestle as a solo wrestler again, and he's very good at that.
He's really good.
And and I like the fact that, because a guy like me, because I watched pro wrestling a lot. I didn't get turned on to New Japan wrestling much at all until really you came along, Jared. And so a lot of the Carl Anderson, I've seen maybe 4 solo matches of Carl Anderson's, but it's not something that I think a lot of the American public would know he's great at.
They even brought up the 2012 G1 Finals. Dude, that match is fire.
They bring it, Omega brings it up every episode, twice an episode, which I think is great because it's and not only that, but you can go find it.
Yeah.
And so he's reminding people how good he is, and if you're a guy like us, you will go back and find it.
Oh, dude, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you want to see it, but you're also getting to see him do this work now. And Sabin's great, too, as a wrestler, by the way.
Dude, yes.
He can wrestle solo with somebody. It doesn't matter. Now, Anderson winds up winning on a roll-up. And post-match, pre-credits rolling, Anderson runs into Rich Swann, who tries to talk to him and tell him that he's, I guess, on the wrong path or whatever. And so Carl sucker punches him, and the machine guns roll up, and now it's machine gun, Swan fighting each other, and then Doc Gallows rolls in, and so that turns into machine gun, Swan fighting, which turns into, Lord have mercy, Kenny rolls up on the scene. And if you were wondering whether or not Kenny was going to be involved in fisticuffs, that becomes over, and they turned the wrestling world on their ear last week or 2 weeks ago when Omega said, I'll take this title, see me on Tuesday. Then he's there, and then he's, like I said, at AAA retaining a title along with being on the pay-per-view. And then he turns around and says, we're going to put together a Bullet Club reunion. A Bullet Club reunion. He doesn't even dance around the fact that, like, he doesn't call it the club. He doesn't call it bulk backwards. He calls it a Bullet Club reunion.
Yeah.
And that shins shockwaves through the whole wrestling world, I'm sure. And, of course, I want to say Tama Tonga said something to the effect of, if you ain't in the club now, you ain't in the club, right? But whatever.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, man, what happened to Bullet Club for life?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I mean, those dudes turned their back on Bullet Club even before they went to AEW.
Yeah, I get it. But it allows both guys to kind of get steam in their organizations, right?
Yes.
And if you wanted to, if in theory all of this continues to be fluid, at some point Kenny could walk into a New Japan arena with Doc and Carl, and they could fight Tama Tonga, his brother, and Jay White.
If I get to see a Jay Omega match again,
this time around,
dude,
when Jay's a little
like,
better, a lot better.
Oh my god,
light years better.
Dude, like I put him on the same level, if not better, than Omega currently, honestly. I really do think Jay White's, like, it.
It's different it's a story, not
Yeah.
It's a story, not a athletic exhibition.
Like Omega right now.
Kenny's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Kenny's a bit of both. But at this point, what Jay is doing for me is, to me, Jay's the best heel in the world right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There's a couple guys on his heels, but he's the best in the world right now. And it has to do with the fact that he's been there at that level now for, when did he win the title?
The first year and a half, almost 2 years ago now.
Okay.
Wait.
So probably 3 or 4 months before that, he kind of was approaching the level, and then he's been on that level since. So that has to matter. The fact that, MJF's kind of new to the scene, the fact that Roman's kind of new to the scene on the heel-ish end of it, to me matters and makes Jay above them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Okay. So anyway, they're going to be at hard to kill, and we're going to have Kenny Omega wrestling on an Impact pay-per-view while the AAA and AEW champion, barring something really weird happening between now and January 6th or whatever that pay-per-view is. Amazing. So let's dive into AEW, because we've got another faction thing happening as the opening match. Hangman Page, Dark Order, very small cowboy hats as they approach the ring, will be wrestling Matt Hardy in the Private Party. What did you think of this?
I actually ended up missing it.
Oh, okay.
The first 15 minutes, I didn't realize it was Wednesday, and then I popped on.
Okay.
But I did see the little hat thing, and that was phenomenal.
And I do believe, I want to say it didn't quite go longer than 15.
Yeah.
It was close.
Oh, yeah, but by the time I tuned in, it was already next match.
Okay, yeah, it was close. It was real close. Because sometimes I'll pause and I see a 17 or 15 or 12, whatever. Okay, it looks, the good guys go over. Hardy takes advantage of all the work that the Private Party puts in. Reynolds got to kind of be showcased here. It didn't look like Hangman Page and Dark Order, they didn't explode on each other. So they can still go with that storyline even though they lost here. There was continuity. They did look good. Private Party's obviously a great tag team. Hardy takes advantage of Private Party in a way, so he winds up getting to do the pin after the Gin and Juice thing, and so
there's a little bit of friction there,
right?
Too.
So they're sowing the seed of Hardy and Private Party breaking up, or whatever they're doing, not being. And two, if you want to, Hardy needs to be in a tag team, but he may not be the kind of guy right now that can be a face tag team guy. And so what you could do is find somebody that he can tag team partner with and get him into a program with Private Party, which would elevate Private Party just by being in the program. And they might get to, who knows, they're going to get to go to the Hardy compound again if they get in a program with him.
Yes.
They might jump into like a multiverse of some kind.
Yes. These possibilities. Yes.
Yeah, right. There's no telling where they could go. Could wind up running alongside the Flash. Who knows what happens when you go to the Hardy compound? There's no telling. Brandy is pregnant. We get a vignette to let us know. Gucci shoes.
The baby has Gucci shoes.
Heck yeah, it has Gucci. The best for the
Prince of Pro Wrestling.
Prince.
What's the prince's son called? Son of a plumber.
No, I said son. It's son of a son of a son of a plumber. Because Dusty was the son of a plumber.
Right.
Cody's the son of a plumber. This child will be the son, daughter, child of son of a plumber.
Or the heir apparent to the world of pro wrestling.
Yes.
Because his dad is the prince.
Yeah, I was thinking what the term was for like the prince's son.
I just tried to figure it out.
I think heir apparent.
Because usually
cool.
when the prince is a parent, they're king. By that point.
Yeah, that makes you wonder.
You must be a prince before you're a king anyway.
Who is the king of pro wrestling then?
I don't know, but that was on the cover. The Prince Love Symbol album. That was the words underneath the ad for it. And of course that was a reference to the King of Pop, who was a couple sections over.
Yeah.
Okay. And congratulations, by the way,
yes.
to Brandy and Cody. And I'm kind of excited, probably going to be like the Godfather.
Yeah, I know. You are his best friend.
Which is going to be...
He texts you all the time.
It's going to be pretty cool. And
Do you still have his?
I had his text from when he told me. He told me, I'm making an announcement, KP, soon. He left out the KP part, but he sent me a text.
It was implied.
Right. I said, hey, bro.
Did he refer to you as cute little nicknames like people?
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
He calls me people and y'all.
Guys.
Guys.
Yes. He absolutely does, actually. Okay. We get a good... Cody comes... Okay, after the announcement, the big screen turns into blood or whatever that is, and then the lights, and we get the beautiful Cody entrance. He walks down. The mother-to-be comes behind him, dressed in white, with her hand on her stomach.
Cool dress, by the way.
Oh, Arn's walking down. Almost looks like he cares. Cody's crying. It looked like he was crying.
Yeah.
Which I get it, dude.
Some wetness.
What a big moment for him, right? And dude, what a couple of years he's had.
Yeah, woof.
Jesus, from give me the bucks and I can sell it out to what he's got now. I just got goosebumps just talking about it.
Yeah, dude, leaving the WWE, working WrestleMania, Wrestle Kingdom.
He started out the decade with that mustache.
I know, and look where he is now.
No, you're saying that mustache
started with the stash, and now he's here.
Yeah, it's all been downhill since the stash, buddy.
Dashing,
Cody.
From dashing to Stardust to I think I can do more. I really like where you're at. Okay, well, I'm going to leave to Indies, to Impact for a cup of coffee, to New Japan, to, you know what, Dave, give me the bucks. I think I can sell it out now. To, we believe we saw Tony Khan at Jackson. We believe we saw Cody in the luxury box with Tony Khan at a Jacksonville Jaguars game. To, hey, I might actually have a TV deal.
Yeah. To
Chris Jericho in a parking lot to now.
Crazy.
It just...
Well, what a story. I can't wait to watch...
To president. He announced last week he's going to be president.
Yes.
Or was it week before last? Something like that. He's going to be a politician. I can't see Cody being just a politician.
No, he's going... No, dude. Absolutely not.
And, dude, when he walks out for the State of the Union...
He's going to grow the stash again.
With his own stage setup...
With and his own neck tattoo?
It's on.
Oh, dude, he's rising from the depths.
Yes.
Okay.
He'll rise from the depths just like his tattoo rises above his collar.
Okay, here's like an actual thing. If he ever wanted to be like serious and political anything, he should have not gotten that tattoo.
Yeah, that was the first thought I had.
By the time he gets out of the Georgia State Senate or whatever it is, every senator will have tattoos. And then the greatest tag team in the history of pro wrestling approaches as Angelico and Jack Evans come through, dancing to maybe the best bopper out there. Angelico, man, can he move?
Oh, dude.
He just slides left and right.
Talking about his dance?
I'm talking about dancing.
Dancing, baby.
He's a better wrestler than he is a dancer.
Yeah. Doing the wobble.
And he's a pretty good dancer.
Don't you guys have a story with the wobble?
Oh, I hate the wobble. The wobble was my high school, that's the song they played constantly. And it just made the experience 10 times more miserable.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, now what did you think about this match? Because I thought the Cody versus Angelico match was really good.
I thought it was really good. I didn't love the ending because every time they work like a leg or something and then the guy does like a high flying move, it always feels a little disingenuous.
Like we ignored the match?
Yeah, even though I will say Cody did leap up using his good leg. So it's not something that bothers me. But...
Right.
I always prefer if you get your leg work the whole match, it'd be cool if you got a cool ground maneuver.
Right.
Like you were forced to resort to something, you know?
I get that and I agree, but I did really enjoy this.
Oh, dude, yeah, absolutely. The entire rest of the match was great.
Cody actually, how do I put this? Because I like Cody matches, but I know a lot of people don't. I don't think people don't like Cody matches. I think people don't like Cody get overjoyed with Cody matches.
Yeah, it's usually if I were to rate his matches somewhere on a scale of 5, most of 3 right in the middle.
Yeah, but to piggyback on that, he doesn't have 2s.
No, oh dude, yeah, dude. Cody's floor is
the
3.
3-star.
Right.
He does pretty dang good.
All the time.
The 3-star general.
Yes.
Yeah. And he also and I'd love to see him and this guy do this again.
Oh, dude, give me
with
20
something on the line and more time.
Give me 20 minutes on
One
paper.
thing that has always ruined Cody's match, not ruined, but taken them down a peg, is like his booking.
Yeah, the
and
shenanigans.
it even has ruined.
But they weren't here.
Yeah, and there was nothing.
This was
fun.
just wrestling, rolling around, holds, all that.
Like the Darby Allin match they had. Like the shenanigans happened after it was over,
and it was great.
Yeah,
and
that's
which
all
is great. Now we're going to move on because post match,
Taz
comes out with Hobbs, Starks, Cage, Hook. Hook would be his son. Team Taz is going to put you on paternity leave right now. We had the callback where you mentioned
Ricky Starks calls. He's done it a couple times, but he calls Darby Allin Turtle Kid.
Turtle Kid. So YouTube Turtle Kid if you want.
Yeah.
It is a timeless moment where just do it.
Yeah.
Just YouTube that and get a giggle. And the fact that he calls Darby that is just money every week. Just stay with it.
Ricky Starks is so funny, man.
He is.
Call Darby?
Turtle Kid?
Yeah.
And so then
that meme's like 2006, right?
Yeah, that meme's old.
And so then as we're starting to maybe get some form of fisticuffs on Cody, it starts to snow, guys. Stinger's coming.
Yes.
And he shows up with a baseball bat, and they have to hold Hobbs back. And it's funny because they were like, you don't want to attack Sting with a baseball bat. And I was thinking, I don't know if Sting wants Hobbs coming at him even if he's got a baseball bat. Yeah, he better hit him square with that first one.
You better knock him out with the first shot. That's all I'm saying.
Because if he misses, Hobbs will take him out. But I like this segment. It allows for the suspense still. We don't know where Cody and Sting goes. We kind of know that there's some affection towards Darby. We don't know where that leads. And we know that, Cody, in a rivalry with Taz's group, Cody could literally wrestle all of them.
Oh, yeah, and it'd all be a great match.
And there's actually history with Hook. And you could, in theory, do a program and have Hook swerve Taz due to Taz's treatment of the other three.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? And that would be dope if they were to do that and get him back in Cody's fold.
But there's a lot of layers and a lot of places that this story can go. I like it.
Right.
This is kind of where I think AEW's booking shines through in a lot of ways when they create a situation like this where it's like, oh, this is just interesting. There's a lot of layers here.
Well, wrestling's best when it's an onion.
Absolutely.
That's the best, and especially when the world title is important, but when 4 or 5 things are important, that's when it's beautiful. That's when you want to watch.
You got to make the mid card important.
Speaking of which, Eddie Kingston comes out, and he runs his mouth, and he's great at running his mouth. He does tell somebody, what was the call out?
Oh, he looks at the camera and he's like, "Don't come in the ring. I'll bust you up."
I'll bust you up. I loved it, man, because it sounded so legit the way he said it. It was like, it wasn't pro wrestler. It was, I'm in a bar and you're looking at me weird, and just keep on standing over there because you walk over here, I'm gonna bust you up. You know what I mean?
It was very real.
Yeah, and he's able to do that even in incredibly not real scenarios.
Yeah.
He's able to give authenticity to it. And it could just be that accent, dude. It's off the chain. You know what I mean? Anyway, so he does claim and lets us know that Pac is on the shelf and he's never coming back.
Never coming back. He went home.
No.
And then he calls out for Archer. Archer runs out.
Archer's ready.
But lo and behold, the Lucha Brothers come out. And next thing you know, we got Pac out, so he's not retired. It was a very short retirement.
He doesn't.
Very short retirement.
He doesn't leave, come back, and then leave immediately. He's not from NXT.
Fisticuffs ensue.
I mean, he kind of is from NXT.
Yeah, he is.
Fisticuffs ensue, and the next thing you know, Archer has got Kingston dead to rights. He's going to put him away. Kingston's stumbling towards him. I think he had his hand on him for the chokeslam, and Pac does the front kick on Kingston's head, and then Pac and Archer get into it over who has the right to beat up Eddie.
Dude.
It was a good segment, right?
Yeah, man. Again, it's one of those things where there's layers to it. There's people interacting where you're not entirely sure what their dynamic is going to
Right.
be.
And if you think too many people were in the ring there, we got 12 coming up next.
It would have been 14, except I guess Wardlow, family reasons, had to stay home. I don't know if someone of his family
Get
members
well,
got COVID.
whoever's kin to Wardlow. And we'll see you back soon, buddy.
I was sad because they took Wardlow out, and I knew this would happen because I knew that's why he was in the match to begin with. Was in case someone had to not be there, but Brandon Cutler got cut from the match, which I am sad about.
Right, because we're the Cutler Hive. The Cutler cult.
I really do. I missed Cutler. I was excited to seeing him in that situation. I'm sad that he didn't.
Cutler's a great wrestler.
Absolutely.
He's great.
He deserves to shine a little bit, especially in this kind of
You know what he
scenario.
deserved?
What?
He deserved to take the pin in this match.
He would have.
Right,
I
and
know
that's
that for a
cool
fact.
though. He
That's
would have got
fine.
time on prime time. He would have got to
Yes.
showcase his moves, and Hagar would have put him on his shoulder, had him put away. MJF would have said, "Hey, man,
The finish
Yes.
was so obviously made for Wardlow,
yes,
but it almost makes it better that Hager did it.
absolutely."
That's one of those things where it's like circumstantial booking, like booking around the odd circumstances that life can
Right.
sometimes put, is often creates such interesting wrestling moments. Like obviously the finish would have been Wardlow putting him in the F10, throwing him, MJF getting the pin. That would have been very standard, very normal.
Right.
But now that Hager's doing the F10 as like a shout out
To-
or like a challenge of some kind
Yes.
to Wardlow, that again another layer.
Rough F10 though.
Rough F10.
That guy bounced off his shoulder and maybe his lower back on the way down to the ground. But whatever.
Dude, but again, like
MJF says, "Let me in." Hagar has to let him in, or doesn't have to, but he does oblige the system they're in now, which is all for one for all, unless MJF wants to do it.
and then MJF before everyone.
And MJF crawls in, gets the cover, and now we did also have the promo beforehand where the Inner Circle is talking, and MJF has gotten an award for best moment of the year or whatever from the New York Times or something, right?
Le Dinner Debonair.
Yes,
Yeah.
for that segment, and then Jericho tries to like throw his name in there like it matters, and then MJF says, "Hey, first of all, I've been reading what you guys say, and it's not true that I'm a light years better performer than Chris Jericho." Right? You remember that? And then he says, and Jericho, I couldn't have won this without whatever little bit of help you gave me, right? And it was perfect. And when I look at you, I don't see a lesser performer. I see my best friend, right? And Jericho's like, ugh, and it's well done.
The backhanded compliment.
Just steady with him too. It's like it's not one backhanded compliment.
He hits you with a bunch.
It's follow through, pop, 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 like the Three Stooges style backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
They're all beside each other. Okay, so of course MJF gets the pin, and then Top Flight kind of jumped Jericho and MJF, and Top Flight is looking to get into a program with the Inner Circle, which is good for them because
They're pretty good.
and the Inner Circle is a big part of the show.
Yeah.
So if you can be involved in that, good for you.
Yeah, that's a big boost.
And that's not the only tag team they're bringing up, because the next thing we have after just an amazing rap battle,
It was way better than the first little segment they had with the Bucks.
Okay.
That-
SCU
what
versus the Acclaim
Okay.
is our next
Did you
thing.
not like it? I liked it. I mean, it was cheesy and corny, but you walk out doing a rap battle.
Well,
Kaz's delivery left me wanting, but he's also like a 40-year-old white dude from Southern California.
I didn't worry. Kaz's delivery didn't bother me at all. It was the guy that's supposed to be good.
Yeah, you didn't like him?
You kind of remind.
No, it is not easy to. People think, well, all that guy does is stand up there and talk. It is a hard thing to do, to walk in front of people and command. And a promo is different from a rap, and I think in the back of a man's head, when he's doing that in his room or for people backstage or whatever, or in a bingo hall or in a venue with people that you kind of know are there to see you, is one thing, but you've been able to do it, and you get on a big stage and you try to do it, and the nervousness and the realization of, if I don't sound exactly like I want to, this is going to be weird and awkward.
Yes.
And I felt like that got a hold of him this time.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I don't think that we should never fall back to this. Because obviously this is a part of who they are because we've gone to it twice. So somebody has seen it and said, that's cool. And I assume that there's enough people running around there that, because rap is not a new thing.
No.
So there's enough people around there that have heard things that for some reason they think he can do this. So maybe next week it's a little better. And maybe the next week, you know what I mean, he's whatever it was that a month ago made them say we need to be doing this on TV. Right? That's all I said. But yeah, it wasn't great. Okay. So we do get a good little match up here. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good match.
Did you see the New Age Outlaws callback?
I did not. What was it?
They hit him with a boombox.
Oh, yeah, they did.
That was the New Age Outlaws move when they first came on the scene.
Quick little bonk.
Shot across the bow. You know what that probably was.
At Road Dogg. Pow.
No, not Road Dogg. Billy Gunn's right there on the side.
Oh, yeah, he is. No, you're right.
Don't you think he might have said, y'all might all do that rapping, but if you're going to, take a boombox down there. Put a title on me, got me in a big old faction. And I had to carry a guy with me. Yeah. He carried me with a microphone. I carried him in the ring. I carried him once they rung the bell. Right. And both of them were better at both than I just gave them credit for. There's the reason why they're both Hall of Famers, Are they ready for prime time? I think they will be. I put that question up there, but I do think they will be. I think they're going to be good. Big Swole, Serena Deebs versus Diamante and Ivelisse, and I like this as well.
I like this match quite a bit.
They talked up the fact that Swole's been training with Dean Malenko, and then she did a Clearwater Cloverleaf. Is she from Clearwater, Florida?
No, I don't think so.
I was hoping she was. We'll Google that. We'll let you know next week. Because I know you're waiting with bated breath. I like this. She winds up winning with the Cloverleaf. Deeb didn't really get showcased here, but that wasn't the point.
Yeah.
And Swole did, and that was the point. And I like seeing Ivelisse play well with others. She's a
good wrestler.
It does wind up being the kind of thing where post-match they want to jump in. No. As a matter of fact, it wasn't. Nyla Rose and Victoria had come down. And the beatdown ensues. And Vicky Guerrero participating in a beatdown is some of the funnier. Because, she's wanting to step on her, but she doesn't, want to hurt her toe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, she's worried about, I think she's worried that Nyla will step on her foot or whatever. You know what I mean? It was just so funny to watch. I love Vicky Guerrero. Vicky Guerrero can eat toast, and I'll watch it. And, but Red Velvet comes down for the save, and maybe we have, even if we don't have factions developing in the women's division, we at least have clearly drawn, defined lines.
It is again another step forward in the right direction.
And now, no DQ, world title match, Joey Janela, Kenny Omega. Speak.
This was the majority of the match was just Janela getting the absolute snot beaten out of him.
Mm-hmm. It was a squash match.
It was a squash match.
One table spot to make you think maybe it's not a squash match.
But yeah, I actually got kind of worried Joey got hurt early on because he wasn't moving. Or I think that was just the point, though.
Well, he went stiff.
Yeah. At
the end, which I would have killed him if I was Kenny Omega when I got backstage.
Yeah.
That cell was awful. Dude, what was he thinking?
I know what he was going for. You've seen it a million times. A guy gets hit and he straightens out. You know what I mean? Go.
And Dad told me this when he saw the cell. He said, if I was Kenny, I'd go back in that locker room and I'd look at Joey and I'd say, have you seen anyone do that cell? He'd reply, no. And I'd say, so, you thought you were smarter than everyone who had ever wrestled? And that's why you thought you were going to do the cell? Have you seen anyone do that cell?
Ever. Dude, but anyway, I mean, dude, what's the shame is all of it up until that moment, was the correct story to tell. And it still was. I mean, but it was so weird to see him laying down with all fours sticking straight up at the sky. It was just so weird. It was like Joey, I know what you're going for, but dang it, son.
You look like roadkill.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to oversell the way The Rock did. But when The Rock did it, was like, oh my god, and it was all in the moment and stuff, and it was all, but
it just looked a little awkward.
He was just,
it was mega awkward.
Just kind of there was no energy to it, really.
There
it just kind of fell.
But the rest of the match...
The rest of the match was pretty good.
Especially with the callback to Booker T. When Booker T ran into the ring with the commentary thing on.
Oh my God.
Anyone doing commentary...
Yeah, I screwed up. Kanellis was on commentary and hands a mic to Omega.
Yeah.
Who
oh, dude, Callis wasn't on commentary. He went over, tried to force his way onto commentary.
I'm sorry, correct.
He tried to go over there and bully Tony, and Tony's like, screw you. Dude, Tony was phenomenal this episode again, by the way.
He is always phenomenal.
He really has just been knocking it out of the park.
Oh my God, except for one thing, and it's not even this episode, I left it off. They did the commercial on Impact.
Oh, yeah.
And Tony Khan was doing his little thing talking, and they cut it to Tony. And Tony said something about Access TV, and he said, if you ask Siri to find Access TV, Siri asks you why.
Oh, dude, he said something.
Dang, Tony, I like Access TV. I like the little rockers.
He said something during Kenny's entrance where he's like, "Oh, I'm glad Kenny boosted their watchers from 1 to 6." I was like,
what?
Bitter Tony just burying Impact every week is really funny.
It is classic. Now,
but Callis goes over, he's just yelling over the commentary when he's doing it, which was super funny. Hands the mic to Kenny. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
The whole segment was pretty good, except for maybe the ending a little bit.
Now we wind up. How did we get to Pac in the Death Triangle? How did we get to all that? Oh, I know. Post-match, I really apologize, folks. Post-match, Pac comes out, and he says, I don't understand how you think you're the world champ or you're a deserving world champ when Phoenix never lost in a championship qualifying tournament.
Also, Pac beat him.
Right. Therefore, Phoenix is going to wrestle you for that belt, to which, of course, Callis says, you guys don't make the rules. We do. As we know now, though, that's not true because Phoenix and Omega will wrestle for all the marbles, and I could not be more excited about Rey Phoenix and Omega. And I love the Death Triangle with Penta, and it's just...
Oh, dude. Exciting.
Like we were saying, there may have been factions over the course of the years of 3 wrestlers that could get down like Phoenix and Pac but none jump out at you, and there's a legitimate argument that that's the best 3 in-ring performers that have been together. It's crazy, and if you can get them in some 6-man stuff, it's going to be right. Well, and that's what this company. I've always said one thing that they do different from everybody else is 6-man tag. It's just that's their
bread and butter.
Well, and 6-man tag is. They use it, like you said last week, as a cruiserweight opening match style of thing. Oh, it's very fast-paced, whatever.
Yeah.
It also, 6-man tag is what created the Shield. It's what made, you know what I mean? They were like, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure our segment is the best segment on the show because there's 3 of us, and we can make sure that you're never wanting to blink when we're out there.
Yeah.
And they do that with multiple 6-man tags. First thing, as Tony Schiavone, Excalibur, JR, welcome you to the show. There's 6 guys out here, they're going to kill it. And that's a really good way to start. And to have these guys possibly in that mix is whatever. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's
now,
awesome.
Let's talk New Japan Pro Wrestling that we watched a little bit of.
All right, so last week we got caught up with the finals for the World Tag League and Best of the Super Juniors. For the World Tag League, we had G.O.D., Tama Tonga Tonga versus Finn Juice, David Finlay, and Juice Robinson. That match was really good. We watched them in Atlanta.
Right.
Which was a blast. So G.O.D. goes over. Do they win the belts at Wrestle Kingdom? So they are historically, they have never won a match at
I
a
was
Wrestle
just
Kingdom.
fixing to ask if Wrestle Kingdom is where they've never won.
They have never won a match at Wrestle Kingdom.
It feels like it would be a good time for that.
Yeah, it would be, especially with how this coming year with Bullet Club is kind of looking.
I was just
It'd be a good step forward for making them.
But what if it's like the new Jeff Hardy? You know how
Which
Jeff
always-
Hardy? You know how Jeff Hardy had a streak, and then like when he came back at the WrestleMania we were at, me and Dad, and when they came back as the Hardy Boys, he won. So maybe they're just playing it long term.
They might be.
Until Tamatonga breaks his neck and gets fired.
Probably. I can't see. Tonga doesn't do a whole lot of like really high risk stuff.
Not to mention, Tamatonga, I think, would have to do something really goodness awful to get fired by New Japan.
Yeah, dude, that dude's the pillar
Like, I think
of the division.
Yeah, I think, they call him first.
Yeah.
Even if it has nothing to do with his program. I think he's really deeply embedded in it. More about the show?
And we also, right afterwards, was the Best of Super Juniors final with Hiromu Takahashi versus El Desperado. What did you think of this match?
Dude, Hiromu was really good.
Hiromu is really good.
And I like Desperado, but I had not seen him this good, I don't think. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Maybe they're just built for it. Some people
Their previous
just mirror each other in unique ways. And I did like that. I liked the going to the... I think you're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
I liked the going for the mask a lot. I was stunned at how good looking Desperado is.
Handsome fella.
Like, why would you wear a mask? It does fit the aesthetic because he's a cowboy, kind of, in a way.
Yeah.
And so I get that. But, dude, he doesn't need a mask.
No, he's handsome.
Yeah, he's
but
good. Yeah.
that was kind of like the centerpiece of the match was the mask ripping off.
Right.
Which I think is really good because like the rest of the match was awesome. They have really good chemistry together. Their previous matches are. I think Hiromu also ripped his mask off in a previous match, and he reacted somewhat similarly. But I think the whole story and vibe they were going for was that Hiromu was trying to wrestle who Desperado truly was. Like in promos before the match, he kept referring to Desperado by his like real name.
Right.
Because Desperado was a young lion. People know who he is. People know his name and what he looks like when he was younger. Mm-hmm. He came back and he put on this persona of El Desperado, so Hiromu was trying to break through that persona. And it turns out when you rip the mask off El Desperado, it's still El Desperado. That's him all the way down to the core.
Well, the most interesting...
casually puts the mask back on.
Yeah, he literally just...
After the
on
match.
his own time.
But he didn't have any problem. Like, a lot of times, guy gets his mask ripped off, and they cover their face up, or, oh my God, what am I going to do? And, like, for example, Phoenix got his mask ripped.
It was a big deal.
And in the AAA match.
Yeah.
And the camera panned back, and they never gave you a close-up of Phoenix's face.
Yeah.
Right?
And I don't want to see it.
No. And now here we go. This one... He gets his mask ripped off, and it doesn't slow him down a beat. It's almost like you wasted your time.
Yeah.
Allowing me to recover while you're fiddling around with my mask, and now we're back on even footing. I thought it was great. Did you think it was great?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I mean, the dynamic that Desperado has with his mask.
I thought it was great, too.
Yes. The dynamic that El Desperado has with his mask, as opposed to, like, the normal luchador one, because he isn't a luchador in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. He doesn't even wrestle like that.
Yeah, he trained in Mexico and he's familiar with it, but God, I just really like the vibe. Like Hiromu's whole deal where he always wants to fight his opponent at their strongest in a lot of ways, and him trying to, reveal the wrestler underneath to discover there is no wrestler underneath. It's still just El Desperado. Who he is, who he wrestles as is just him. It's not just a persona.
Like you said too,
great.
Hiromu's character in the wrestling, like the world of wrestling, is so unique in that he does always want the toughest fight. He wants the hardest pursuit. There's an innocence to everything about him. Just an absolute innocence, and it is refreshing. and just wonderful to watch.
All right, and real quick, something else to talk about was the Super J Cup, which was a tournament they had over here in the States. They usually have it every year. El Phantasmo won it last year and this year. He was not there to flip Liger off. Or Liger was not there to be flipped off.
To receive the flipping.
Yes. Unlike last year, which that was always the funniest. He like flips Liger off and then he like kicks the trophy. Mm-hmm. He did not do that this year, unfortunately.
Now, he had a little bit of a different way of going about things, too, in the tournament, right?
Yeah, because, like, the first match he had was against Leo Rush, which was a banger. That match was awesome, by the way. Where he, like, pretended to be ring rusty. There's a certain level where I couldn't actually tell if he was. Because he comes in, and he does this great thing as a heel where his theme song slaps. He like... quote, won't give the rights to the theme song to New Japan, so they just have to, like, mute it. Mm-hmm. They mute every piece of audio, so it's just silence.
Right.
And he keeps, like, pointing to his ears at the camera. He's like, you like that? We can't hear it?
Yeah.
I just thought it's such a creative heel move, and I totally forgot he did that.
Right.
But it's so funny to me every time. Because even in Japan, he would come out to, like, silence mm-hmm. in front of a crowd to deny them ever hearing his banger of a theme, which is awesome. It's creative heel work. I love that to death. But their match with Leo Rush was awesome.
Right.
Leo Rush is an immensely talented wrestler. I love seeing him work. El Phantasmo, really, really, again, creative at how he heals things up. He pretended to be ring rusty. Like, he does a flip into the ring and he messes it up. And then he goes off the ropes and he messes it up. But then he always manages to, like, pull a fast one. You know what I mean? Oh, dude. The matches in the rest of the tournament were just dope, too. We got Chris Bay versus ACH. TJP versus Clark Connors. Ray Horace, who is a really good wrestler from Ring of Honor. And Blake Christian, who I had not seen before this tournament, but I was thoroughly impressed with his showing.
The Texas kid, right?
Yeah.
He was good.
Or Tennessee?
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He was Tennessee, right.
Yeah, he got his nose broken the first match he had, and he ended up wrestling the second match, and it was great.
He's good.
The showings out in this tournament were awesome.
Yeah, it was a good afternoon to watch wrestling.
Absolutely. It was that tournament setup where it's like 3 rounds of matches, quarterfinals. Wait, quarterfinals? Semifinals? Wait, which one's semifinals?
Semifinals would be right before the finals.
Okay, what's like the one before semifinals?
It would be quarter.
Oh, so I was right. Quarterfinals, semifinals, finals.
Right.
So the winner ends up wrestling 3 matches.
All right.
And it was El Phantasmo. Great set of matches. Fun time. Fun afternoon. I recommend you go check it out because, man, what a collection of talent.
Speaking of Leo Rush, he has moved he has moved over to MLW, and he did a promo on the last MLW episode, or the last one I watched. I may be behind on one. I love the kid. He is about to go into a program and probably win their belt if he's staying there, which I don't know if he is, because like the other day he was like, where do you want to see me end up this year? So I don't know how long he's around, but I think it was the kind of thing where he needed a job where he could be on some form where he can cut promos a little bit and let people know who he is. And we watched Devon Eriks wrestle. I like those guys. MLW is a good show too if you get a chance to watch it. Of course, one of my favorite wrestlers right now is Jacob Batu, and he's a monster.
Yeah. Great
champion. They signed him, I don't know about long term, but to a new contract, so he'll be there a little while. Everybody's real hyped on Alex Hammerstone. He's a monster, and I think they're about to renew their rivalry. Something happened. He went away for like 2 weeks, and they're about to renew their rivalry in the next couple weeks. So that'll be fun stuff if you like the MLW.
I think his girlfriend had to have some kind of surgery.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We'll get well soon.
Yeah. I think she's doing all right though.
Is that a wrap?
I believe that's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
For New Japan Jared. For
Rappin' Ray.
Rappin' Ray. For
Stop that.
The Go Home Heat Kid Ray. For me, KP, this has been a Go Home Heat production. Copyright 2020. Go home.
Is that really the note I go out on?
Yes.
Yeah.